but I aspire to be senpai. Notice me. I don't know, please. All right. Tempest Storm has banned out Abathur. Team Blaze. I'm trying to recall their strategy. They do like to try to bait teams into picking squishier heroes in the backline, and then they will go for a Nubarak and Tyrael for a very large blow-up style. I'm trying to remember what else they pair this with. Zeratul. Oh no, it's Falstad. They run this.
They run the Falstad,
well.
and they try to like bait the enemy team into grabbing mages. They're like, hey, take Kael'thas, take Jaina, because we're just going to blow them up as fast as we possibly can. They like to prioritize Sylvanas. I expect Tempest Storm to pick up Sylvanas.
On Kursala, yeah, I think that's fine. Zuna is comfortable, very comfortable in this hero.
And if they know anything about Team Blaze, they know that Team Blaze loves first pick Sylvanas.
Jake, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Sylvanas seeing some changes to Wailing Arrow, a little bit less damage, and Possession, getting a 7 charge system that allows you.
Have you tried it yet?
I have not.
It's ridiculous.
That's why I'm asking.
Possession is so fun.
You think it's good now?
It's really interesting in specific compositions where the enemy team doesn't have something to respond to it. The problem being is Sylvanas is such a first pick type hero. She's always going to be grabbed early in the draft. If that wasn't the case, I would make a very big case for Possession, but it's still the kind of thing where if your enemy team isn't prepared to deal with it, it could be a really interesting pickup as a heroic. Not going to be a common thing. Only teams that are confident that they're better than their opposing side will ever pick it up over Wailing Arrow, but Wailing will still be quite strong. I mean, it's still an AoE silence. And there she is.
There she is. We talked about her being a strong first pick candidate.
Yeah.
That appears to be the case. Team Blaze. Now, what do they set up? They don't necessarily show their strategy right away, but they take the Nubarak. I think they wait to take the Tyrael until a little bit later. So they're going to take the Nubarak. They might lock in a healer.
I think a healer would be fine.
They could take Illidan as well. They have some options. Either way, I don't expect to see them take Jaina or KT unless they've really started to change up their strategy.
I mean, it's good to be diverse in these maps, so maybe they have diversified their playstyle in the last week, but
they can kind of like always guarantee this strategy though.
I'd like Tassadar here.
Tassadar's fine. I'm okay with that.
Just
something a bit more neutral.
Okay.
Okay.
No, right,
so they maybe have changed their strategy up a bit. Now, this worked really well when teams would be chomping at the bit to get that double mage. Like, that was like, oh, any team that gets this double mage composition, they win. It's not really the case anymore. Teams have really figured out how to deal with them.
That was a pretty good win condition back in the day. It's like, all right.
Yeah. For a while, if a team got that composition, they couldn't lose. They couldn't lose.
You're not wrong, because we saw ridiculous success as a result from that. But it's now down for 2 picks for Tempo.
So that said, Blaze, I'm sure, is still very accustomed to being an aggressive team.
Okay.
And I think that they probably will still attempt to draft something that is aggressive, especially teamfight-wise.
So do you think a Nubarak Tyrael is like a likely thing? That's double blood for blood. It's double dive. We've seen great success with that in certain compositions in the past.
Yeah.
Do you like that here?
I think that can still work, as long as they make sure that it's going to... A lot will be on the positioning for the Jaina, as kind of crazy as that sounds.
Hey, no.
Because a Nubarak and Tyrael will be able to sync that up either way. It'll be fairly easy for Falstad to sync up the Hintoan's Blast as well, so I think that it'll just be making sure that Jaina is in position to put down that additional damage. And they'll be able to blow Illidan up.
Do you remember Shotgun Awe?
No, I don't know. I don't remember that. What is that? I'm trying to remove these things from my vocabulary, and you just bring them back up.
Keep you on your toes.
Yeah.
Illidan, though.
Yeah, no. Illidan is... I think Team Blaze is probably not that worried about it, like I was saying. They can still blow Illidan up. And if anything, Zeratul would have been scarier because you can dodge the... the
Shotgun Awe.
Judgment. No, Judgment. But, of course, Zeratul was banned out. So,
yeah.
Smart for Team Blaze to ban this because they realize this is a melee assassin that can sort of deal with their strategy. And they take out Uther. This is good. They're definitely looking to continue this aggressive style.
Yeah,
Uther is probably the best support to deal with this.
I mean, Papa Beard has Cleanse, and he's got Divine Shield, which is effectively a secondary cleanse and invulnerability for a hero for 6 seconds. Pairs nicely with Illidan, but it's good to take that out of the game. Tempo Storm, just... respecting the double mage potential, but I think you might be right here with the Tyrael.
Tempo Storm will probably run their composition out with Muradin if he's available. Kursala is not that strong of a map to do something like Janna and Asmonedi. They don't even have a healer yet, so that's completely out the window. Yeah, it's probably going to be right wing if they can grab it. We'll see what Team Blaze ends up scooping if they steal that away. Johanna is grabbed. I don't think there's really any threat of Tempo Storm taking that. If anything, I would have liked Blaze to... They have shown that they run Muradin in the past with this as well, so not going to be the Tyrael.
What would be the best AoE here? Small Side would still be great. You've got the Condemn, followed by the Burrow Charge, the Blizzard. You can get the Hinterland's Blast thrown in there. What else makes sense? Vala would be okay.
Depends on how aggressive they're looking to get.
I really want to see... They could snipe Rhaegar too.
Kerrigan's not gonna be a thing.
No, Kerrigan won't be a thing. But Rhaegar snipe versus a damage, I like that call. But they want Brightwing. Okay, Brightwing's good against Illidan.
Yeah, Cleanse is not really that big of a deal. It's just more of her being a very solid healer.
Mm-hmm.
Did you just watch the timers bug out? Really?
Probably.
Oh!
All right.
So this is a couple times now we've seen a couple of teams are like, we wanted to pick this person, but the timers are just going crazy. Oh, they're still going crazy. We'll pay attention to the lobby chat.
We're reading the chat, yeah. See if we need to give you guys any updates. We will do that accordingly.
Stormcraft's gonna have to get on their game here. This is.
So guys, this is the round of 8 of the winners bracket between Tempo Storm and Team Blaze. WLM tournament happening all day today, all day tomorrow, and it's going to be the man with the beard.
Yeah, they're not going for the Rhaegar.
I like this. Malf is starting to pick up a lot of potential. He's actually going to be ridiculous starting Tuesday with the new patch. They're giving him cleanse and all sorts of other new talents. I can't wait, man. I'm gonna go on like a Malf marathon.
Malf marathon.
Your butcher, my Malf, all love.
Makes you think I'm gonna play butcher.
Oh man, I'm so sad now.
I don't play butcher.
One of you guys will be my butcher, and I will carry you to victory with my heals.
Does heals. All right, last pick for Team Blaze. In my mind, they need more damage. What fits this? I mean, they obviously are very comfortable in Falstad, so that is certainly a possibility.
Yeah.
We're on Cursed Hollow. So Falstad also makes sense in terms of having that mobility as well.
Yeah, I just can't see another hero working as well as Falstad would in this situation.
Yeah, I'm just sort of going through, looking at the possibilities. Vala.
Diablo, Lightning Breath.
Jake, please. Please, Jake. Come on now. Get
your
head in the game.
Talk about dead heroes.
Yeah, he has not seen some play. It's got to be Falstad.
It's got to be. Vala makes a bit of sense. Tychus does not. Even with Odin. Like, okay, Vala makes a bit of sense. That's fine. Maybe they're just not super confident in their Falstad play.
That's not true.
You're right.
I'm trying to reason through why they're grabbing this Vala. You're gonna let them know we're ready to go. It's got to have something to do with the Hungering Arrow build, and our team's starting to make use of this as a counter to Illidan.
Probably.
Like, not necessarily a direct counter, but if they're gonna take just some general damage, so they prefer to have the Vala with the Hungering Arrow, just to put a bit of pressure on Illidan from being so aggressive in the early game. Maybe. I don't know. The Vala is an interesting choice.
I'm asking Tuggan what happened to the other half of his name.
Wow. The way you phrased that. Oh! The Blizz Police did take him!
I said, what happened to your nuts? He said, Blizz took him. Great!
Wow. It's a sad day. Alright, so I think we are good to go. Let these guys know Jake's being a goober, per usual.
Yep. Game number 1 here. Round of 8, still a best-of-3 series. Winner advances to the winners semi-finals. That will secure you a top 8 finish in this tournament if you manage to win here. Tempo Storm the clear favorites. Back-to-back-to-back tournament victories lately. We've seen them succeed in WCA 3-0 victory over Cloud9 Maelstrom. Yep. They defeated Cloud9 in the ESL Season 2 Finals, 3-0 in the finals. And then just last week, they won the June North America Open with a 2-1 victory.
2-0 in winners finals.
And then 2-1.
Upper bracket finals, excuse me. And then grand finals, they take a 2-1 victory over Maelstrom after some controversial regaming that happened.
They're pretty, pretty good team.
Yeah, they are a pretty good team. Ever since Zuna has hopped on their squadron, they have had a great amount of success. Not that they weren't already very successful team beforehand, but I think they've been doing very well for themselves. And we do have some roster changes today, Vortex and Maelstrom in particular, so we'll have to see how that affects both of their placings. A lot of people are already starting to call Maelstrom, a big powerhouse again. looking to take back that #1 spot in NA with Fan on the team.
Right. Fan has been shifted from Vortex to Maelstrom.
He's a rock star, you know?
And Vortex now has Kenma.
Yes.
Kenma.
We don't know who was replaced on Maelstrom.
I do.
Well, I do too. I'm just saying, it's not public knowledge.
Yeah, it is. If you go to the Cloud9 website, so it is public knowledge.
Oh,
they
really?
figured it out. It's Biceps.
Okay.
Yeah, Cloud9 website's up to date.
Okay, all right. Then we can talk about it. Yeah. Fair enough. All right, on the left side of the map, it is going to be Tempo Storm, like you mentioned, the winners of the North America June Open and now qualified for the Americas Championship. We have Zuna is going to be on Illidan. KO is going to be playing Tassadar. Dreadnought on the Malfurion. Soldier playing the Muradin once again. And Parthlon on the Sylvanas.
And on the right side of the map, that is going to be Team Blaze. They have a new bracket played by Tuggen. It's going to be DXN, I think it is, on Johanna. It's going to be Rafflecopter playing Jaina D-Noob on Brightwing, and rounding out the team is Vala, played by Claudius, capturing this bottom watchtower.
Reinforce was picked up for Johanna. That is the block version that she has, so it's, you know, another attempt to deal with Illidan in terms of if there are opportunities where she is chased. It shouldn't happen too often. Look at this, Arthlon getting very aggressive right away. And you guys can see the Siphoning Arrow was picked up as well for Vala, so we talked about that being a possibility. Anything else jumping out at me? Not in particular. Reverberation was grabbed. Maybe that's probably the weirdest thing to see, because there are no heavy auto attackers.
Yeah, in theory, Vala.
So I think maybe I would have preferred to see the Perfect Storm
I can't
Sledgehammer build.
Can't argue, but it's not like Reverb is bad.
It's not bad. No, I'm not going to say it's bad.
Yeah.
So I'd say, if anything, maybe that's the weirdest talent that was picked up.
All right, well, right now it's just, 3v3 in the bottom lane.
Yeah.
We do have just Illidan versus Anub in the top portion. Going to be probably fairly passive, even though it looks quite aggressive right now. Tassadar v Johanna, same deal. Story is down here in the bottom.
Yeah.
Which team can get the push off?
I would say the Tempo Storm has the better pushing composition, at least for the time being. Of course, Dreadnought will be able to sustain, but I just think that Rafflecopter will have good clear. I don't suspect that Tempo Storm will be able to get a whole lot done, and we do see actually the Silence of Polymorph was quite good. Almost able to take out Soldier and Arthlon. They're pushed back.
Yeah, they are. I mean, they got very aggressive. A few shots from those towers went down onto Soldier, forcing him back. He does have the increased health regen, so the health part will go up quickly when he's out of combat. But tapping the well that early, we actually have Rafflecopter doing that the same.
So again, just a lot of pushing in the bottom lane. I think this is going to end up being a fairly neutral lane, despite the fact that 3 heroes are stacking up for either team in the bottom lane. The amount of pressure that Tempo Storm can put on is better, but the wave clear just seems to be that much stronger for Team Blaze.
It certainly has been there, even with Sylvanas on the side of Tempo. I mean, they're always on the back foot. Dread can go back to base to restore that mana. 2 minutes and 15 seconds to 2 minutes and 50 is when the first tribute can spawn. Dread just wants to make sure he is ready for battle to contest that tribute to the best of his ability.
And on the top lane, I'd say Illidan is doing, of course that being Zuna, is doing a good job dealing with Tuggen's pressure. Nubrek, probably the best laner of all the warriors. I think that's pretty fair to say.
Yeah, I would have to say that in the current patch. Definitely the case. Bottom lane is where the tribute's going to be. The action's already here. The damage going down onto Rafflecopter with the phase shift from Brightwing. The shields coming out, going to keep him alive.
Soldier, I don't believe he will be able to tap the well, since I still have another 30 seconds for that opportunity to arise. I think this might give Team Blaze a better position. They have a lot more damage output, all things considered. KO rotating up. Is Blaze... Oh, they've overextended a little bit. I think that's probably the wrong way to go about trying to approach this. D-Noob looking to rotate in from the top side, putting pressure. Just really cool to see the positioning between both these teams to try to capture this tribute.
Yeah, DXN has made his way down here 4v4 in the bottom portion of that middle lane, not being soaked by either team. Top lane still has Illidan and Anub. Iraq with the AoE damage going on. Soldier has to dwarf toss away.
So far, it kind of seems like the sustain, actually for both sides, is very, very close. Soldier very low, Claudius also quite low, but the mana is going to be an issue for Claudius and Rafflecopter.
Yeah.
Both. Doesn't look like there's a well available for Claudius. So
these interfates,
drawn out
they're
fight.
paying
yes,
off.
You're right. That's a good point to bring up.
I mean, we can see that just Arthalon has pretty much full everything right now. On Sylvanas can get very aggressive into that front line. This whole team topped off nicely. Malfurion thrives in these long drawn-out fights, and Rafflecopter super low. The Pixie Dust going to help get away. We see the Haunting Wave not actually going out for Arthalon because of that Polymorph, and that's the first takedown of the game in favor of Team Blaze.
KO looking to rotate around, maybe put some pressure on Rafflecopter, but this should be the end of this battle. I think this might be a bit of an overextension for Tempo Storm if they were looking to draw this out. I don't see how they could really get the better of this. D-Noob is able to capture the first tribute, so after a bit of a minute-and-a-half long fight or so, we see that they rotate back to their original positions. No one occupying the middle lane.
Yeah, just nicely done there. Just passive play. They kind of waited it out, even though the sustainability was there between the Tassadar and the Malfurion. They found an opportunity. They waited for the Haunting Wave, and then the Poly went out, picking up that takedown.
So Brightwing phase shifted up to the top lane, and perhaps especially to get these promotes off. Is that going to give an opportunity for the bottom lane for Tempestorm to get pushed out? We just see the Burden did end up parting back.
I'm not too sure, right? If Sylvanas was still down there, but since they have to shift lanes, since Sylvanas went mid, they're not really in the greatest of positions to do this. But, yeah, they do have those promotes, so, yeah, they'll get a bottom 4. That's something, and they do have a slight experience lead as a result.
Shade Form was picked up.
I love this. This is something Zuna has started to pick up more and more, and with a Nubarak as a big threat and Jaina, it's going to help Zuna get out of a lot of bad situations.
Arcane Intellect as well for Jaina.
Interesting. That's very uncommon. This could be a new test considering the changes that are happening to the game, but long drawn-out fights, we've already seen that happen. That's really just going to help have you keep your mana up.
Mana was an issue in that last fight, so this could be something they're anticipating, seeing longer team fights maybe. Second tribute of the game has spawned on the upper left side of the map. Soldier already in position to try to lock down some enemy heroes. The Brightwing will phase shift in, and this could put some pressure on. Let's see how they end up rotating. 4 members already there for Team Blaze.
All right, but the rotation is here. Zuna, Dreadnought, Arthalon making their ways up. They are currently separated from their ally Soldier, who is currently just dealt with Vola pushing in the middle, but a nice Kingdom going to lock Arthalon down. Haunting Wave was used to get back in position. Soldier just can't get to his team.
He was being really obnoxious in the back line, and Zuna is now looking to just get into the middle of the enemy team. Is he going to be given the opportunities? A lot of damage going down on his Tug, and it has to use a burst charge. Ends up falling down. Soldier now looking to try to get the stuns out.
That aggressive Haunting Wave! Yes! They're in the face. DXN get a fall as well. 2-0 in favor of Tempo. This tribute will go the way of them. Arth mounts up. Claudius looking to keep the fight on, but Multishot not going to be able to dismount him.
Well done for Tempo Storm. I keep calling Zuna Sylvanas. Got to stop doing that. He's playing Illidan in this game. But yeah, very, very nicely done for Tempo Storm. They even out the tribute count, but more importantly, the level advantage is fairly heavy at this point. For Tempo Storm, the heroics are up. We do see the Avatar, Metamorphosis, Archon, 2 yet to be picked for Malf and Sylvanas. It's going to be the Wailing Arrow, very likely Tranquility. There it is.
Let's just get a full update on some of these talents. Full beetle build for a Nubarak. We talked about the Arcane Intellect, but also going to the Frostbite, and so it's a bit standard. It is going to be the full-on Hungering Arrow build. You get the siphoning, the puncturing, and then the repeating arrow. Yeah,
and she's very, very easily topping the damage charts for Team Blaze. So it's working out well thus far.
Yeah,
it does seem to be. Usually, it's a very mana-intensive build, if I recall correctly.
It really is, and that's why I really like the idea of Malfurion rising in the meta, and it's going to happen. We're going to see a lot of Malf in the next patch, but not. I mean, she doesn't have that utility in this game, so she's going to have to be a bit conservative when it comes to throwing all her cooldowns out.
Emerald Wind was grabbed for Team Blaze. Wow. We just see the Blessed Shield, Strafe, Water Elemental, and Locust Storm just try to quickly get those out before the next team fight hops up. And this could be a really tough position for Team Blaze. They're funneling into this small area. Soldier getting the shields from his team, from Tassadar. And how are they going to be able to clean this up? They're letting him through.
Yeah, they are, and Soldier's quite low. We do see the Avatar being used, and a big Wailing Arrow hitting everyone. They're just falling apart. The Emerald Wind will be there to peel, saving 3 members, but 2 did go down.
Nicely done. Wow, the silence plus the Metamorphosis. And again, it was just like Soldier just keeps backing up a little bit, letting the rest of Team Blaze funnel through this small area. And there's a lot of things available for Tempo Storm that really capitalize on that Metamorphosis and the Wailing Arrow, both getting a lot of value in that last fight. And they weren't able to get as many takedowns as I'm sure they would have liked, but more importantly, they got the tribute. And what this means for Tempo Storm, they have command over the decision-making for the next tribute that spawns. Team Blaze has to respond to it. Tempo Storm knows this. They can go take the boss instead, give that tribute up. It's not critical for them to grab it.
That's just a nice advantage to have. Just having that control as to like the decision making on the map. All they have to do is worry about getting picked off in battle. We see Arthwan in the top lane just being a bit passive, make sure it's just Gladius here on Vala, and the rest of the team, they're pushing hard in this bottom lane.
Okay, what's the next play going to be? We see the bribe being used by Dinu, the bottom lane. They take back the vision. They have to sort of figure out what their game plan is going to be when the next tribute spawns. Yeah, for now, they need to make sure that they hold off Tempo Storm as much as possible. Getting a bit aggressive, Tuggin with a good position to body block KO will be difficult to take down, especially because that Dimensional Warp did hit level 13. I ended up going for Shrink Ray, so it doesn't quite have the same amount of safety as before. This might actually be the Shrink Ray plus second strike build to really get that maximum
it's
damage.
So aggressive, but man, the damage is unreal, especially when you have an Illidan on your team to assist, just locking them down, blowing them up. And we talk about just safety. That it's there in the form of Ice Block for Malfurion, Tranquility plus Ice Block.
Okay, it looks as though both teams are going to be set up to fight. If a win occurs for Tempo Storm at this point in time, it will be very much a Golem into a Curse, which could be devastating for Blaze. There's a lot of pressure on him here to start turning things around. This is the opportunity they need to capitalize on to win. And actually, Zuna is able to capture the point by himself, and he uses the Metamorphosis to get in. Is the Emerald Wing going to be enough? But the silence is thrown down, and it looks as though a lot of the members will have to back up. Claudius is going to be pressured to back out. The phase shift will be good in time. Full retreat. No one actually was taken down for Team Blaze just yet. Gladius actually falls to the Psystorm. Tuggin trying to defend for his team. Gets rooted. That might actually be the fall for him as well. He does end up getting taken out. It's a 2 for 0 for Tempo Storm. They have the curse, and things are not looking good for
when
Team
you're
Blaze.
cursed like this, your structures aren't helping, so that's why Zuna is in their face. Those shields going out. He gets the self-healing for all the damage he does. And we even see that Haunting Wave aggressive for Arthalon. They're in their base chasing them down. Zuna gets the shielding to survive, and that is going to be the entire team evaporated in that fight. Very aggressive out of Tempo Storm.
That's a keep. I think they're going to go for it.
That's
they're going
to
go for it.
Yeah.
That's why I mean. A lot of other teams that wouldn't have made that much of an aggressive play. They're going in. They're going in. They know anytime they take an advantage team fight like that.
Look at the levels.
To an extent, yes. We're 10 minutes into the game. They move past the fort wall, the keep wall, take a keep, then back up, take the fort. This is huge.
And now they're going to get one boss and probably a second boss. The curse will expire, but they have a 2 talent level lead. This is not a fight they can take. Even though Tempo's taking a boss, they cannot contest it.
Interesting that we see Zuna going for the Stone Skin instead of the more aggressive, perhaps Blood for Blood at this point. We do see Stone Form, Hardened Focus, Blood for Blood on the Sylvanas as well. And it is going to be that second strike, so we have, again, a very, very aggressive style Tassadar. Very much the opposite of what we would see probably for Bobby Hank Hill. So Team Blaze looking to take their goal. Have they gotten enough damage done? Halfway there. We see some of the members are backing up. KO is probably going to have to make a very aggressive play with the Dimensional Shift to try to contest this. Is he going to go for it? Yes, he does. We see Metamorphosis thrown down. Tuggin maybe in a bit of a precarious spot. We do see the Emerald Wing going down, but is it going to be enough control over the fight? We do see the Bright Wing ends up falling down. Tuggin is going to be able to retreat. Arthlon perhaps a bit overextended. They do get the boss. Tempo Storm looking to take another huge team fight.
Big props to Soldier. They're holding the Dwarf Toss till after the Emerald Wind. He could have been in that fight a little bit sooner, but he waited to make sure he could sit on that capture point and make sure that the boss was not stolen from the Emerald Wind. Tempo, everything they're doing, they're perfectly in sync, and they're just making play after play.
Showing why they are the winners of the North America June Open. They took that in convincing fashion, and this is exactly why. They have very aggressive but decisive rotations to their team. They took both Golems. We see the Nubrak is trying to clean up the remainder. Actually, I say remainder, but it's still at 50% HP in the bottom lane. That's going to be a pain to deal with. The Strafe going down, hitting a lot of members of the enemy team. You know, Claudius is really trying to make the best of the position, but when you're this many levels down, this many talent tier down, it is hard. It's very difficult. That's the second keep down. And we see that the Golem has done a lot of work in the bottom lane, taking almost that keep. Probably will be a solid rotation from Tempo Storm just to finish this off. So that's 3 catapults pushing down, 1 in each lane. Blaze, this is going to be rough. What kind of plays do they need to make to come back? And at this point,
it's so hard. It's Tempo Storm, like the best way to lose the game right now is for Tempo Storm to just overcommit on the core. They know that. That's why they're backing up. They're collecting these giants. They're just going to play passively, wait for this next tribute where Blaze can't contest it.
I think at this point I want to see Johanna make some very flanky style rotations. They need to, obviously Blaze needs to set up a strong team fight. I think that having a very a flank position for Johanna with the Condemn, set up with the Blessed Shield. If you can get a good solid rotation in that sense, lock down those heroes, puts Nubrak in a good position to follow with the Burrow Charge, And then you have Strafe as well with Jaina as well. That seems to be, in my mind, the best way for them to make this comeback. They need to hit level 16 first. They need to take Northern Exposure on Jaina. Like, if they take the route, I'm not, like, it's not the worst idea, but they need to make damage happen.
Because of Zuna, yeah.
They need to make damage happen.
Now, the other big deal, though, is that they're on a timer. They need to take a fight right when they hit 16. They're still going to be down 3 levels because once Storm talents are achieved by Tempo Storm, they're in such a tough spot. And Tempo Storm, it looks like they just want to bring the fight to them.
Yeah, they need Critterize. They will very likely take that. They took Numbing Blast. I can't say I agree with that. Imposing Presence is fine. That will definitely slow Illidan down a lot in these fights. Blood for Bloods I'm okay with. I got to be critical of the Numbing Blast. The root is good, but you're going to win the fights through having that huge damage output using the... it's 25% damage for anything that's hit by the Cone of Cold. You need that. I think a lot of teams shy away from this. Yeah, I've seen some really nice plays made by Numbing Blast, but you got to go for the...
it helps,
exposure
but
at this point.
You need the damage output to just remove the Illidan immediately, like you said. You just got to take him out of the battle. Rooting him is one thing. Just killing him. That's what you need to do.
Yeah. And we have more mercenary camps pushing in the top lane. That's catapults, constant pressure. And now that they've been backed up into their lane, you talked about them being on a timer, and they need to sort of make a play happen. I think doing it inside their base is going to be difficult.
That's what they need.
Yeah, that's the type of play. They got Illidan out. Soldier probably will not be able to escape this at this point. Dreadnought looking to... Actually, he could throw roots down to keep him alive. So, well done. But what do they do with this? They have 50 seconds. I need to see decisive play out of Blaze. Find someone to try to take them down. I would have been okay with them even chasing that. They have enough mana. They had the heals. But they have a Tribute up. That's going to be another curse for Tempo Storm. The curse at this point isn't going to do much except like hold Blaze back in their base. It's not going to allow them to finish the game.
Yeah, it's just like they're going to push in, right? They might be able to finish the game if Blaze oversteps their bounds, if they're not careful. But this is going to, at the very least, allow Tempo Storm to like push the issue. They can really just march on forward. But if they take out Dreadnought here, he's going to use that Bolt of the Storm to get on out. Not going to be able to pick him off.
Smart. Well done. Arthlon was also poking, looking to just try to maximize these situations. This really just stalls Blaze. They have to be back in their base defending. It gives plenty of time for Zuna to get back up and into the game. Level 20 was hit. Storm Talents now available for Tempo Storm. There's 2 Bolts of the Storm for Malf and Sylvanas both. The Metamorphosis form, I always forget the name of it. Demonic form? Yeah, I actually did get it. Yes! Rewind from Erden, and of course the Twilight Archon.
All right, well, the boss will be picked up rather rapidly. Then they can just rotate up to the top boss again, constantly keeping Blaze on their back foot, defending. Blaze, really, they just need to find someone out of position. That takedown they got on Illidan earlier, right idea. They need to make it happen again.
But also, I mean, if they make it happen again, you got to do something with it. That's the other thing, too. Like, you get these advantages, you have to pressure. You can't just sit back and defend the entire time in the base. Like, you have to figure out what is Tempo Storm very likely to do next. In terms of target maps, where are they going to rotate to next? So obviously, it's what Tempo Storm is good at. You got to get in their heads to try to figure this out and take that 5v4 fight.
You're not wrong.
You can't defend just sitting in your base the whole time. Like,
no.
If you let them get to level 20, you're going to
lose.
find yourself in the exact spot that you're in right now.
Yep. All right, well, the Giants, the promoted Catapults, the Golem are all here. The meta goes down for Illidan into the front line, and Tempo Storm is trying to end it. A big Wailing Arrow hitting 3 targets. We do see D-Noob forcing out that Emerald Wind, but an Uber X is going to be the first to fall.
Yes, D-Noob, Gladius, Rafflecopter looking to try to defend DXN as well in the backside, but they're on the wrong side of the core at this point. It is falling very quickly. Tempo Storm with a very, very decisive game number 1 against Team Blaze. 14 takedowns to 2.
They didn't lose a single fort.
Structurally, I mean, the amount of towers that were even taken, probably very minimal.
If any. I mean, 1 or 2.
Yeah.
But Tempo, they hit that stride and they never dropped it.
They did. So, I mean, a lot of that just was confident plays from Tempo, especially that chase. I'm remembering, if I had my Telestrator, Jake, right now, would just be highlighting that chase that happened.
Yeah.
In the mid lane right after the curse was taken, because that was cool. That's just, it shows the experience that Tempo Storm has at this point. They've played so many games. They know you have this curse. The only thing that can fire back at us is the core.
Yeah, the minions will die in a heartbeat. They're going to tickle you the best they can, but it's really just the core. And 1 shot went off to Illidan. He immediately backed on out. Zuna just knowing his limits there. Well played. I mean, honestly, the only 2 takedowns on the side of the plays was the first one in the game, very early, first tribute, and then Illidan in the bottom lane when they caught him out of position.
Yeah.
Beyond that, Tempo, every team fight was just picking them apart.
Can't say it any better than that. That is it. So,
bam!
we are going to head to game number 2 for Tempo Storm versus the Blaze. We'll be back in just a few moments, guys.
The Blaze, Team Blaze, the
I know, I probably give him a different surname every time.
Every time.
Every time.
Welcome back from the Wubs here at the Team Liquid Super Brawl with Solid Jake and Kubi. That game was quite the doobie.
Doozy.
Doozy.
We're looking for the word doozy. Every day. Every day I have to work with this. Oh my goodness.
Great!
All right. We're waiting for the lobby to get it set up for game number 2 between Team Blaze. Do we have it? Nope, that's the wrong guy. Nope, still not up yet. All right, we're waiting. We're chilling.
I just told Chad about this. I'll show him it.
Oh boy.
We're giving away at 10,000 followers. I am giving away a Heroes of the Storm SteelSeries mouse. Let's bust this bad boy open. Oh my.
You think the person who gets that mouse would want it to be open, Jake? He closes it immediately. He's like, oh god, what have I done?
Mouse pad. You get them both. We're gonna raffle this coming week after we hit 10K, because I assume we'll hit 10K. I'm hopeful. Okay. Some guy that likes sword fights just followed me. That's a cool name. Sword fights.
What a guy. What a guy. We can talk a little bit about the bracket.
Yeah.
While we're at it.
Bracket.
So, not that Jake is going to bring it up for us, but I'll talk you guys through it.
I might.
So, round of 8, which is technically round 3 of the winner's bracket. We do have Temple Storm versus Blaze. That's what we're looking at right now. Cognitive versus the Plays. We'll be checking that out. Of course, we did see the Plays take a 2-1 victory over Vortex in a bit of an upset, but they've been looking fairly strong as of late. So, this leaves us with Complexity versus the Goon Squad. Oh, Goon Squad taking a 2-0 over Zevron. That's interesting.
Look at this.
Wouldn't have expected that either.
Yeah. Wait, Complexity beat Goon Squad?
Yes. No.
Oh, they're
No, Goon Squad took a 2-0 over Vortex.
Ooh,
Zevron.
Wow.
Jeez. Yeah.
Goon Squad.
Couple of upsets
Impressive.
So Complexity will be playing up against Goon Squad. And then
Sidestorm did fall to Complexity. Okay.
I'm not familiar with Arno24. I'll assume that that's the captain's name. We don't maybe not know the team name. But anyway, Michael Udall's team.
Yeah.
I would guess would be the team. But maybe today's the day of upsets. Who knows? Quite a few upsets thus far. They will be playing up against Maelstrom. And that is going to be the round of 8 for the winner's bracket. Lower bracket, anything else that's jumping out at me? It looks as though Vortex did take a 1-0 victory over Eclipse. I think that is LZ Gamer's team.
Eclipse?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. Tsunami down here. Interesting.
Yes.
Sad Squids. I'm rooting for them.
Sad Squids.
It's just a good name, man. The Winter Mules.
Yep. So that's where we're sitting at with this bracket. Do we have? Okay, we do have a lobby up, Jake.
This is just madness, though. We're like this early into the tournament, and we see Zevron, 2-Arc, Vortex, Capital. Look at this lower bracket already.
I have to say I am pleased with the amount of insurgence
new
of teams.
Yeah.
Yes, and teams that are performing well. It's not just the same 6 teams all the time.
Same nerds.
Dominating. Not to say that they don't deserve it. They all work very hard, but we are seeing other teams that are really jumping into it. They're not feeling discouraged with trying to break into that top 6, and we're seeing some good promise, good progress out of these teams, and the Blaze is one of them. Team Blaze. Why? Why do I keep doing this? Who did this to me?
Well, the Plays and the Blaze and the
team Blaze.
No, Team Plays and the Blaze.
Jake. Stop. No.
Did you say we have a lobby? Totally gonna join that lobby.
Yeah. We do have a lobby. We're missing the other team, but we have a lobby.
We got half a lobby. Sky Temple. Going to be the map.
Sky Temple, we know that much. What's strong on Sky Temple? We can sort of theorycraft that a little bit. Okay, D-Noob's hopping in. So, Vikings, decent. We see Sylvanas, not too bad on this map, especially. A lot of it has to do with, in terms of how you want to draft on this map, is, one, a bit of mobility is good. If you have one of your heroes, Brightwing, Falstad, not too bad, especially in that bottom lane early game, able to rotate up using their abilities. That's always good. And there's a lot of, it's a tall map to go from the top to the bottom, etc. So having that mobility is strong. Area like AoE damages, especially when you're going to be fighting over those temples in certain areas.
Like
having
Blizzard,
that's very strong.
Flame Strike.
And those heroes are very strong, regardless.
Yeah,
but yes, they get some extra value. Yes, and not only Flame Strike, but Phoenix as well for the zoning potential. Kel'Thas, and Kel'Thas can be a bit of a risk too, because you can't always guarantee. This might be one of the shorter maps, or in terms of
game length.
In terms of game length, right? There's opportunities for it to end quickly. Other maps that or other heroes. Anyone with Mule, we're starting to see the resurgence of Mule picked up on this map, and there's a lot of opportunities.
Flat out winning that game in the NA Open.
Yeah, I would say the Mule was absolutely the MVP there. So in that case, it was Abathur. Tassadar, always going to be strong on these maps regardless, but Mule's possibility for Tassadar. Ralph? Who else might have Mule?
Zebo is not going to be played.
No. Lele has Mule, yeah. we don't see her played very much.
Maybe in the next patch, with all the changes being made to the game, the way that interrupts work, it's in the realm of possibilities, ladies and gents. But we are almost ready to roll here with the draft. We've got 8 out of 10 players. Kubi's taking a look. All the options for Mules. BW, she's got it.
She does, right? But
not for long.
Probably not going. Yes, she's
losing it.
Yeah. Honestly, it feels like not too many other heroes yet.
Why doesn't Raynor have Mule? He commands like all these Terran forces. He can't even call down a Mule. Blizzard,
please,
let me roleplay.
Not going there.
Nope. One member needed for this draft. Maybe Kubi got a draft link. I haven't because I wanted to restart the client.
I do have one.
BRB. I need to restart the client.
What happened?
Remember, I'm not getting messages.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And that's making me sad.
Would you like to set this up, sir?
Yeah, that sounds decent. I don't know the number.
I know it.
So proud of you. Why don't you?
Wow.
Why don't you handle it?
Got it. Sky Temple. All right, they're starting up.
Wow.
They're starting up. Let's get on into it. First pick, first ban. So Vikings decent on this map as well. It's an okay Azmodan map. I wouldn't say it should be a priority for either team. Illidan taken away. Not a surprise. Strong Illidan play from Zuna last game. Found himself in some good positions. Only getting picked off that one time. I'm okay with that. Take the Illidan away.
Yeah.
Team Blaze, are they looking to try to get that aggressive composition that they seem to like so much? They didn't draft a super aggressive team in the last game. Maybe that was sort of their downfall, something that they're not used to playing. We'll have to see. They did first pick at Nubarak last time. Wouldn't say it's a priority. Zeratul gets grabbed.
It should be Tassadar and Sylvanas, if I had to guess. Wrong. Sylvanas, please?
Please? I don't...
There we go.
There you go. There you go. Okay.
I feel better about myself.
Tassadar would have been fine, too.
Tempo Storm has been prioritizing Tassadar
They have.
very frequently at the start of the draft over the last several weeks. But you can't knock on Jaina. You talked about the AoE damage potential and how important it is here on Sky Temple. And Jaina's pretty good at that.
Team Blaze, it feels a little bit difficult to predict what they're going to be going for. Because if any team did research on Blaze going into the North America June Open, it was pretty easy to see how they were drafting. Yeah. It's a cool way to draft, but they did it very often in the qualifier, up to the top 8. And maybe they're finding that teams are really starting to play around it now, and they need to diversify their assets.
They do. And... well, they're picking up Kael'thas, Tassadar, lots of power on their side, lots of just damage in general. KT plus Zeratul, it's a whittle away, just kind of throw down that late game damage of Kael'thas, and then have Zeratul blink in. Remember when I called him Kael'thuzad?
Kael'thuzad with a little sass.
Oh man.
Got him.
What if they gave us a Kael'thuzad skin for Kael'thas?
No. I'm already going to mess his name up at least two or three times this game because you said this. That's way worse. Way worse. All right. Second set of bans. First one going to Temple Storm. They ban out Brightwing. Removes the potential for
just take it out.
Promote to be picked up. I guess also the cleanse is something, but it's not really that impactful considering what Team Blaze has thus far. And what would you take away from Temple Storm at this point?
Well, they're set themselves up to take Uther if they want it, but they're worried of the dunks. They don't want Azmodan. I actually think Temple will take Malfurion as their support in this game. And
so I was actually yelling at Dread yesterday about this.
About Malf?
He just put out his guide about Sky Temple, and he puts Azmodan as both strong on this map and weak on this map. I was like, what is this? And he reasoned. He said, okay, stacking, not really so good. Late game, can't always guarantee you'll get there. But in terms of poking and having control over the temples, he's very good at that. So I guess in that sense, it makes sense. I don't know if Temple Storm was thinking to run it. So it's not completely crazy to take Azmodan out here. There are obviously way better maps for Asmonite to be played on. So we'll see. We'll see what Tempo Storm rounds. They're going for the Malf again. Are we back to the Tempo Storm Malf glory days?
We might be.
Where they would run pretty much Malf exclusively as their final pick just to go with it. This could also be double Warrior. Like, we see Malf prioritized, especially when they want to run double Warrior. Blaze has not picked their Warrior yet. It would be hard to lock them out of strong Warriors, but we'll see. We will see what happens. They're going to take Muradin if they feel as though that's going to get sniped away. They really like Muradin.
I like Muradin here, but I think that that's the last thing they should prioritize just because the Warrior options. And,
yeah. I wonder if Johanna is going to start becoming more of a standardized counter to Zeratul because of Shield Glare.
Just look at the synergy with all those heroes, though. Like, one thing that always made Malf a less desirable pick is roots weren't as like much of a guarantee as just the stun from Uther or Polly. But now you have Johanna that's going to force them into these bad spots, and then Roots is going to either hit them or really limit their escape options. It's a really cool synergy, and then you just throw damage on top of that, and it's a nightmare. But it's going to be Uther picked up as a support of Team Blaze.
All right. And they need to pick up their Warrior at this point. They feel very comfortable in a Nubarak. That would be my guess is the pick. There it is. Tempo Storm still needs to grab either a second Warrior. I don't think that will be the case. Probably some damage. Now, you mentioned this AoE style, especially with the Condemn into Roots. Obviously, Nazebo is going to be the pick to put the zombie walls up after.
You know what? Nazebo, not so much. But
no,
Zagara
no.
It might be.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of synergy with Roots and Maw. I think just control over the battlefield in general. You can lock out space with Maw, and the Hydras will chase you off the temple. I actually prefer Zagara over Vala in this particular situation.
And it is Tempo Storm. They really like Zagara as well. And
usually,
if it's like there's like a choice between 3 or 4 extra damage dealers and the top tier, quote unquote, top tier picks have been already grabbed, Tempo Storm will lean towards grabbing Zagara. So that's our composition for both teams. Very 1 Warrior, 3 damage dealers. In the case of Tempo Storm, it is going to be 3 ranged assassins / specialists. Malfurion seems to be, they're leaning towards this Malf a lot.
Yeah, they are. They certainly are leaning towards the Malf lately. It's just kind of the new tempo way. Back in the Malf's getting a big buff.
Tempo way back in the day, and you stopped yourself?
Hey. All right.
hey.
So Malf is getting a big change in a lot of ways at positivity, right? He's going to have cleanse. He's going to have more healing options. He's going to be able to have a bit more burst in general. There's a lot of other changes to supports, like Healing Ward was nerfed, so that didn't affect Malf, but Protective Shield's being changed, so it's more health pool based. Buff for Warriors, maybe?
Yeah. Okay, that's great, Jake, but do they have it now?
No, but getting comfortable with them. And
that's what they're doing? You're telling me they're just playing right now to get comfortable?
Well,
you told me earlier, play to win.
So
I'm just gonna
we talk about Johanna. And I mentioned the synergy that exists.
Got him. Wasn't ready for it. Wasn't ready. Credits to Zuna for inventing that song. It is absolutely.
It's like the Lion King. Meets
Heroes
Johanna.
Yeah. Well done. All right. Well, the lobby's not quite full. Jake actually refuses to enter the lobby. That's good.
Hey.
Hello? Hi.
Oh!
Get into the lobby, sir.
Yeah, chat.
Oh, boy.
I haven't read chat, man.
The bane of Jake's existence.
Chat?
Get your Heroes of the Storm coffee mug today. It's actually quite nice, I gotta say.
I'm drinking out of Naz Dormu. I've actually got 15 seconds to drink.
Naz Dormu?
Naz Dormu?
You're the WoW player, man.
I don't speak dragon. Kooey, that is an awful sound.
I know it is. As soon as I put my head down, I was like, this is a mistake. Mistake! All right. Players are ready.
Are they?
I think. They're getting there. We have a Master Uther skin. I'm pretty excited about that. Hopefully has the golden money pig or the golden cyberwolf. We will be judging D-Noob heavily as his skill as a player based on this. Actually, a lot of golden. Look at this. This is kind of nice. You guys can't see it, but
pretty. Oh, now they can.
Look at that.
3.
And the invisible hero in the middle?
1. The invisible hero is the most attractive one here today. We are going into the game of Sky Temple, the sickest loading screen action you've ever seen. Now this, of course, is the Super Brawl. Oh, look, I got a follower. So awesome. Going in, I don't want to show our cameras because we've already stepped away, so we're just going to look at this sick logo instead of that terrible loading bar screen.
Terrible loading bar screen. Yeah, maybe in the future we'll have something where it shows the hero compositions on either side on this screen, nicely displayed. That'd be cool to look at, I'd say. Because that's my thought right now. So I'm like, just like, all right,
what are the teams?
Let's take a look at their
we can look at that too.
Oh, hey, look at that. So I wanted to jump back and figure out what the mobility was for either team. It's pretty low.
Yeah, it is. It is pretty low.
No supports available for. I keep calling them supports. Promotes. No promotes.
Just Tassie?
Yeah, just Tassadar for Team Blaze. So
yeah, the interesting thing about Malfi on this map is the fact that he does in fact have Mule as an option. But
that is
true. We'll get to that at level
7. Jake, that's
yep.
when you get Mule. Okay. On the left side of the map, it is going to be Tempo Storm. Arthon will be on Sylvanas once again. KO on the Zagara. Dreadnought will be playing Malf. Zuna on Jaina. And Soldier on Johanna.
On the red side of the map, that's going to be Team Blaze. The Blaze with DXN817 playing as Mechatassadar. D-Noob on Uther. Tuggin Nuts playing as Nuvarak and Claudius. He's there to top lane.
D-Noob not on the Golden Money Pig. Or the Golden Mecha Cyber Wolf, whatever the thing's called. So, I don't know. Points subtracted for not matching mounts.
Subtracted. All right. Well, we do see KO starting to get that creep life on. We do have 3 members here. Yep. 2 Protoss, 1 Paladin.
So, you mentioned the Mule. That might be a large factor for why they took...
yeah. It's
we didn't talk about it a lot during the draft, but it's that or Rhaegar. Those were their choices at the time. They had banned out Brightwing. So there's a Mule available for either side, but I think that probably is a large determining factor for why they grabbed this hero. KO out of position. Thought he was safe in the bottom lane. Usually that's why you stick Sagard down here. Wasn't able to get enough creep out. And Kael'thas with the counter takedown. Jake with the top level observing. Got it.
Got it. All right, you can take over.
All right, good. Yeah, I'll just reach over. Just see how good my observing is. It is fantastic.
You're observing.
Okay. As you can see in the top lane... Oh, you did it! You did it! You broke the heroics? Why would you do this?
Oh, no,
Jake, why would you do that?
Broke the heroics.
Oh, boy. Unslave that now. Why would you do this? All right, so we will we'll do the best to get these heroics to you guys, at least the cooldown.
Of course, if you press the O key, you can slave the camera to your secondary observer, but for whatever reason, it slays the heroic timers on the UI.
Okay, both temples have spawned. Yes, a minute and a half into the game. A lot of rotations will be happening at this point in time. Looks as though KO and Tassadar will be played by DX, and in the bottom lane, that should remain pretty stagnant. But in terms of what the rotations are going to be to capture the most of these temples, of course, if you're able to stand on the temples, control them, take out the Guardians, you'll get a lot of shots fired onto structures on the enemy side. Yep. So, big contention point.
It certainly is, and we do see Rafflecopter just throwing down the Living Bomb onto Arthlon, but a big blizzard hitting D-Noob. The root will connect, and that will surely be Uther falling, and that's going to force Rafflecopter to back on out. Has very little mana. He's going to try to contest 3 heroes because he's got a Zeratul to assist. The Uther Ghost, the Ghost of Uther, marching forward, but is it too cheeky? No, he's going to be able to get out.
Tempo Storm, thus far, doing a very, very good job bullying Team Blaze. There we go.
Oh, Claudius get hit by the Envenom. The slow's coming out from Jaina. Zuna trying to do this, but with Uther here, the stuns not going to be there. The Blizzard just going to be enough to peel, forcing Rafflecopter back, but Arth and Zuna, they need to go home.
Almost an overextension. I think the big thing was that Raffle was out of mana entirely. Didn't even have enough to throw out a Gravity Lapse back to hold that off. But I think both of the temples went to Tempo Storm, so we're going to see just about a 5-minute, excuse me, 4 minutes 50-second temple spawning in the bottom lane. Just keep that in mind.
All right, so middle temple did go in favor of Team Blaze, and yes, KO in the bottom lane just barely getting away. Again, the Oracle was used, but DXN not quite having the Psystorm available to get that takedown.
It was either the mana or the cooldown, one of the two, maybe both, not allowing him to throw that ability down. We do have the 2 Envenoms on the side of Tempo Storm. As Zoya likes to point out, they don't stack, but they do have the burst damage, and if you were able to stagger them well enough, you can get a lot of early game pressure. It's an instant cast ability. very strong in the early game.
Right now, that'll change Tuesday.
This is true. Moves to instead of a 5-second DOT, it's 10, right?
Yep. So the damage is the same. It's just increased into how long it takes to apply. So far less burst, easier to heal through. Going to give more priority to a hero like Malfurion because they can just throw a regrowth on you and heal through that. Claudius gets hit by that Moonfire. Just that clairvoyance of Dreadnought, knowing someone might be waiting in the bush.
Level 7 was just hit a Mule for Tempo Storm, as we sort of predicted, but none for Tassadar. Even though the Healing Ward was grabbed at level 4, it is actually going to be Deep Shift. Presumably into a prescient style build with Zuna. A little bit of overextension. Does manage to dodge the Burrow Charge, but that will still be an overextension. Oh, and the one final shot!
Where's the root? Where's the root? He needs to use that root to get them out. I think it might be on cooldown still. There it goes. All right, we do see that Soldier in the front line going to feel the best he can. That is Johanna can get. Johanna
still
can get
has the Iron Skin to get out, so no problems there. Using lots of hope. Picked up at level 4 with the battle momentum. Fairly standard build that seems to be sort of generating for Johanna. A lot of the players are going for this style. All right.
They get that 4. Just one poke from Zuna was enough to eliminate that top 4. Zagara has been pushing this bottom lane. KO continuing to make sure he has creep spread as a buffer for potential ganks and just that safety net.
Another big reason too as to why Zagara gets put into this bottom lane, especially when she's grabbed on this map in particular. Having this control is not only good for pushing out this lane as much as possible, but having the vision, especially to know when the enemy team is going to rotate for the second set of temples, is also quite big. And any damage that you can get done so that that bottom set of temples can take out the fort will catapult your team to a very large advantage. Hopefully to get you to a victory.
We can hope, but the roots
jumping the gun there.
Yeah, man, Ubi.
Did he just cleanse himself to get out of that?
I don't think so.
Looked like he walked away quite quickly. He did not. Seeing things. All right.
All right, well, we do have the Mule here picked up for Malfurion. Level 10 has been reached by Tempest Storm. About a level lead right now. We do see the Wailing, the Water Elemental, Blessed Shield, Tranquility, and Maw.
So they were able to get the bottom temple to its entirety. Tempest Storm did. They have that advantage. It's just a big reason as to why Team Blaze did not attempt to contest this. Still, though, with 2 forts down, sizable level advantage. What is Team Blaze going to do to come back? First of all, they need to hit level 10. They get those heroics. We need to see some aggressive play, Divine Shield. You know, Zeratul is going to really have to get into that back line to put pressure onto Zuna, on Jaina. Kel'Thas with the Phoenix, I think that's smart. Oh, okay, it's going to be Divine Storm in this case.
That's actually very interesting. They want to really lock down some of those heroes to make sure they can blow them up, but...
Yeah, I'm okay with this. I mean, unless Zeratul was going to go for a Shadow Assault build, there's not a huge pressure to get Divine Shield. Divine Shield will always get some good value in the fight, but if you can see yourself landing very, very clutch Void Prisons into Divine Storm, that sets up very well for Nubarak to dive in with the Locust Swarm. Archon as well will be able to get a lot of value. Phoenix, I mean, it sets up well. There's the potential to have a very, very strong team fight if the Void Prison is set up well. So Temple Storm will have to pay attention to this. On the other side of things, we talked about this, Johanna with the pull into Roots, Blessed Shield, the Maw. There's also a lot. So we can see some very crazy team fights on either side. Probably not so much crazy, but more decisive from either side.
Yeah, you're right. I think that's a good way to put it. Just could go one way or the other just based on how well the setup is successful or not, really. Yep. Just a lot of it relying on that VP, so we'll see what they're capable of doing in this fight. But they're starting to pressure into this middle lane a fair amount. They're just waiting for the next temple spawn, which isn't too far off. We'll likely see something like top, bottom spawning in this situation.
It's bottom is the 4th spawn in this case, and it's either mid or top for the remainder. In this case, it will be mid. Temple Storm doesn't actually have as much of an advantage as they had before. A little bit better soak for Blaze catching up, so good for them. They don't have that talent tier advantage, so this is a good place for Blaze to try to start catching up, getting momentum in this game thus far. Temple Storm takes the Bruisers, as you can see on the left side, just to provide a little bit of split pressure, but it looks as though the fight will be breaking out over this middle temple.
Yeah, they're really pressuring that middle temple, like you mentioned, just sitting there on the base. We do have a nice condemn going out, hitting 3 members, but the follow-up isn't quite there. They're just looking to poke away, apply the damage. You see the Hydralisk, you see the Roaches just tearing apart that Anubarak, and again, the Den comes out. Zuna with the rotation, gonna be able to pick off Zuna, or Zeratul just about immediately.
Yes, the Maw is thrown down. Soldier looking to get the pull. It doesn't quite hit it, but still the Divine Storm was pretty good to get them locked out, but Uther is going to have to retreat. This is bad news for the rest of Team Blaze. Tassadar will end up falling. Another stun. D D-Noob getting back into the fight to try to save some of his team members. Will be able to keep a Noob alive through the use of the Ghost form, but that is a sizable advantage for Tempo Storm with a 4-0 victory. They should be able to clean up both of these shrines. Temples.
Let's talk about like defensive wailing arrows though. Divine Storm had Zuna on lockdown. They had 2 members right there. He was just about 2 hits away, but with that wailing arrow from Arthalon, bought all the time he needed to stay alive, allowed them to turn around and get 2 more takedowns. Big plays.
And only that, but Mule, bottom fort completely up and ready. Only the 2 towers taken out mid on Tempo Storm's side, and the top side also looking quite healthy. So in terms of structure damage, this is a very big deficit for Team Blaze to try to battle out of. They need to start taking very convincing team fights to try to find advantages elsewhere on the map, because the rotations and objective control for Tempo Storm are off the charts.
Yeah, Zuna's going to be able to sit here for the last quarter of the ammunition remaining. The enemy team, Team Blaze, can't really contest this. They're down to talent tier. Now they just barely hit 13. We're going to start seeing Chain Bomb instead of Flamethrower on Kilthos.
Right about that. Interesting pickup.
Of course, Chain Bomb it's more damage potential in theory, less safety to do so.
I'm okay with this. So we were talking about that in that previous set where we would have liked to have seen the Northern Exposure picked up to get that extra damage output. If they find themselves behind like this, they know they need to take convincing team fights. There's a lot of pressure on this Zeratul to hit a large VP. If they do hit that, and they're recognizing it as a win condition, it seems. If they do hit that large VP, you're right, the Chain Bomb will have a lot more damage output.
That's
a Noob with Burning Rage and Locust Swarm, they can still do this. They're only 2 levels behind at this point, but it can still happen.
And structurally, they're not in a good spot, but they haven't started losing the keep. So if they take big team fights before the temple spawns, they can really swing this back in their favor.
Hopefully they recognize this as very important. That would have been a decent Void Prison. I'm just sort of looking, because that's going to be how Team Blaze starts to initiate and really pull this team fights around. They need to hit at least 3 members. Oh, Rafflecopter in the back lane does actually get a very quick heal from Uther, so kudos to D-Noob on saving Rafflecopter in that position. The Void Person only hitting the 2 members. This could be a bad start to the fight for Team Blaze. And it looks as though KO is actually starting to get isolated in the back line. Tuggan is able to take him out with the help of Tassadar as well. Are they going to be able to clean this up? No, D-Noob falls.
Yeah, they've lost Uther right now. It's 1-for-1, but they managed to just hold on to the majority of their team, and that's a big deal. Losing D-Noob, not the end of the world, considering Nubrak almost fell also. They were down 2 levels in that fight, and now they're down a talent advantage.
Yeah, that's actually the big deal. So it seems kind of like it's a good trade, and considering the underdog advantage, it's good experience-wise, but this is what gave Tempo Storm the advantage to hit themselves up in Arthalon, taking a very convincing 1v1 fight versus Kael'thas, and Venom actually had a large factor into turning that fight around. So, again, the trade was good. It's always going to be better for the team that's behind, but if that's going to be the small amount of experience that the winning team needs to hit that next talent tier, that's not a good thing. And so we do see Numbing Blast was picked up, Hardened Focus, multiple Hunter Killers picked up on KO. All pretty standard picks, I would say, thus far, but it's just more survivability, more damage output in these fights for Tempo Storm. And this puts Team Blaze a little bit further behind, in my opinion.
Yeah, it does, and this bottom temple is completely on lockdown by Tempo Storm. Team Blaze they just need to clean up these bruisers, clean up this top wave. Not too much damage was dealt, but level 16 is what they want. Once they have that, they can consider engaging, but again, the positioning is already here for Tempo Storm in the bottom portion of the map.
Okay, we see Team Blaze. Many of their team members are rotating down.
Did I not use Ice Block? That was a misclick. He probably wanted to heal, so Ice Block's actually on cooldown.
And they're far enough ahead, especially considering the talent tier. How does Team Blaze approach this? It doesn't look like they're actually kind of back up, so a bit of indecisiveness in terms of which objectives they want to take.
Yeah, they're going to grab these giants here. I mean, that'll get them very close to 16. Zeratul in the middle lane.
Did you see the quick rotation that happened from Tempo Storm? As soon as they started taking those giants, they hit tab, and they showed, okay, they're taking some camp. We need to be up. Yes, they do have a little bit of vision with the creep from Zagara, but still, like they're going up. They're taking this. It could be the boss from the side. That doesn't give you complete vision of that area. So very much on top of it. Tempo Storm realizing that taking the boss would be a big jump, good strong step for Team Blaze to try to get some map presence back in this game.
They'd love to do that. They do have 16. They're now on a relatively even footing in terms of the teamfight capability, and we do have Ignite. So this is really going to start to increase their damage. We do have Dimensional War picked up for Tassadar, just a bit more of a safety net. The single blood for blood, the Rending Cleave actually picked up here for Zeratul. Yeah, I really like the teamfight capability here at 16.
Rending Cleave is It's an interesting ability pickup. There was some discussion a while back about which does more damage once the second singularity spike. Double bombs, once that got nerfed to 50% damage for the second one. Yeah. I think with this style build, it's probably better to hit this, but okay, Zuna.
Zuna is locked down, but this is buying time from the rotating. A big maw from KO going out. The Wailing Arrow connecting on 2 targets. Condemn locking them in place, and that will be 2 members falling, 3 members down on the side of Team Blaze. Tempo Storm looking confident. Yeah,
a couple of convincing plays there. One, KO, excellent place maw to sort of counter the pressure that Zuna was under falling out of that ice block. Second, Zuna on point with the ice block, burned up 2 of Kael'Thas's abilities, both Living Bomb, or tried to cast the Living Bomb, and also the Flame Strike. Not able to hit, so he's just underneath the Phoenix at that point in time. A lot of abilities were sent out, not able to be capitalized on. They were able to blow up Nubarak very, very quickly. They've taken themselves a 5-0 advantage. Not quite enough time for Tempo Storm to back up or put some pressure onto the core. They will take this boss. They have 2 sets of temples that will get them more keeps. Tempo Storm looking very convincing once again.
And apologies to everyone once more for bugging out the heroic timer. It's completely my fault
that's right.
in this game. Sorry you guys can't see that, but Tempo Storm, they now have nearly a 3-level advantage. The Storm talents are within grasp. They have a boss pushing down bottom. They control a single temple, and they're just going to make sure they're safe here. They take this, they'll rotate to the top temple, because Team Blaze, they cannot leave their base with that boss marching down.
No, very good points. Do have that temple. Will very easily clean up the middle keep. Top one doesn't look like it should be able to take this. It might be close, though, especially with both temples firing off. There's a couple. This might actually be 2 keeps.
Yeah, it's going down. It's going down for sure. And they might even get through the shielding of the core, because the boss has already started to work on it. Most of the shielding will go down from that boss.
Yeah.
It's going to be close, because there's still at least half ammunition left on the top tower.
Still won't be looking to get aggressive. However, the Giants on Team Blaze's side of the map are going to be spawning up next. I would assume that would be the next thing that Tempo Storm will be setting their sights on. But a Party Bush. I like this play. They need to make something convincing happen. And how are they going to set this up? Put Gladius up front. Get him with that Void Prison. He needs to set up good spacing thus far from Tempo Storm to not make sure that they're all caught with that. Dreadnought will probably... He's going to use the Blink. Ice Block should be available during this fight if he needs to use it with the Tranquility of Maw and a Void Prison going out.
But they're trying to turn this around. We see that Ice Block has been used, and Nubarak's going to fall. D-Noob with a big Divine Storm only connecting with Dread. And Zuna going to be able to barely try to escape this. Not quite. With Tassadar picking up a single takedown in favor of Team Blaze, but they are now in a tragic position if they cannot remove Dreadnought here. Oh, Arthalon.
DXant coming in from the backside. He does still have, or does not have the prescience, I should mention, but the core is pretty much dead at this point. So.
Yeah. All right. Great. Great with that quick finish at the end. Esports boys victory 2-0. Tempo Storm will advance to the winners semifinals of the Team Liquid Super Brawl Melee.
I gotta say, Zeratul is quickly striking me as probably one of the harder heroes to play in the game.
Easily.
Not easily. Vikings.
But he's definitely top 3.
He's up there.
For skill ceiling?
Yeah, and it's got more to do with the Void Prisons than anything else. And it's very difficult to decisively throw that ability down with the very long cooldown.
Yeah.
It makes or breaks so many of the team fights, and I'm seeing spots that's like, oh, that was the moment, but not having the complete picture, not all the vision, not knowing where all the members of the enemy team are. It takes a very, very skilled player to constantly hit those very clutch Void Prisons. I think that's probably what Team Blaze needed to come back in that game, especially during that last engagement where they were all party bushed up on the top lane. Didn't end up panning out for Team Blaze. Structurally, they found themselves very far behind early on.
Yeah.
Mule played a large factor in just keeping any...
Such a good talent, though. It's becoming so important on Sky Temple in general. We see games just allowing you to get to that late game and win. And having Mule is such a crucial thing. There's a lot of specialists that have it, but giving up a lot of damage it is a hard choice to make. But that's a really unique thing about Malfurion, and why I really enjoyed that pick in that game.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense, and it obviously worked out very well for Tempo Storm. They will advance to the top 8 winners side for the Team Liquid Super